What's up, my PT peeps and my Walking Dead family? One Eyebrow back to talk about The Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 4. Spoilers, preview, and discussion. Yes, spoiler warning, obviously. If you don't want to know this information, what is highly likely to occur on the episode 804, happening this Sunday, stop watching now. But for those who want to know, here we go, guys. So, episode 804 is this Sunday, and we got some news about it. Some spoilers. Here we go, guys. So let me know your thoughts of the spoilers, what you're thinking for episode 804. I'm excited about it, and it's going to be a kingdom-heavy episode. And it's a mix, actually, of emotions. I'm excited for the episode, but I'm also sad of the episode for one reason that we'll get to, obviously. But Ezekiel, you will see him at the kingdom, putting his gear together. You see him behind the scenes. It's actually pretty cool. In the leaked 4 minutes or the preview 4 minutes, whatever you want to call it, you get to see Ezekiel a little bit more and the kingdom, what it is. There's going to be some action-packed sequence with Rick and Daryl going after the 50 cal with the Humvee and the Jeep and Daryl on the motorcycle. But other than that, I believe it's the kingdom episode. So we got Rick in the Jeep going after the 50 cal, and I believe they get it, but I'm not sure 100%. And I'm excited to see the action sequence that we saw in the trailer, and it looks to be pretty awesome. There's a guy in the back shooting at Rick and Daryl. Daryl takes a spill on his motorcycle. Rick is in the Jeep, which is pretty cool. I like to see the military-style Jeep in there a little bit. I got one of those in my book if you want to check it out. But overall, Daryl is on the motorcycle. I guess he takes the Savior out because there's two people in that truck. There's one in the back and one in the front, and Rick's riding the Jeep behind them. So it's an action-packed sequence. That's pretty cool. So the 50 cal is going to be the big weapon that can be a game changer on either side. So does Rick end up with it or Negan end up with it? Can't wait to find out. But initially I thought Negan would end up with the 50 cal, and maybe he does end up with other weapons to get out of the sanctuary by all the walkers. But I believe Rick and Daryl actually end up with the guns in the Humvee or whatever. They stop them from getting to the sanctuary. So it should be action-packed from that sequence because it is a game-changing weapon, and it should be crazy. You'll see the power of the weapon when we see the Kingdomers, because at the very end of episode 803, we saw the power of the weapon. So also in the weapon that was moved, people are talking about, what does it mean? Is there a mole? Is there something? We talked about it in another video. I don't believe we get any more answers for that in episode 804. So we see Daryl being ruthless and taking people out. I believe he may take down one of the saviors in the Humvee Jeep, and Rick gets into the other side, and you see the action-packed sequence where he jumps in and gets crazy, and should be pretty cool, and I'm excited for it. How about you guys? So what do you think of the Rick-Daryl situation? I don't think any more comes of it of this episode, but we may be heading down a Rick-Daryl show-off, showdown, whatever you want to call it. Rick and Daryl are seeing different sides of the war. Rick kind of wants to make peace, and Daryl wants to kill them all. But the 50 cal right here will come back around because you see the bodies sprayed around. And that's the problem we'll talk about in a second. But they move the weapon. You see a lot of rounds there. So they fired a bunch of the rounds out, and they were ripping people in half. They killed a lot of Ezekiel's people. But Ezekiel does not die. Jerry does not die. Carol does not die. So you don't have to worry about them. But Daniel Newman and a couple of the other Kingdomers are gone. And it's a shame. So we're going to lose some kingdom people here, and it's going to be a little tough. But overall, the action sequence continues. I know Scott Gimple said the first 4 episodes are going to be action-packed. They're going to melt your face or whatever he said. But this is episode 4, so hopefully the rest of the season is very action-packed as well. The other big news revolves around Shiva. Shiva does not make it out of this episode. We knew it was coming if you knew the comics. She gets her comic death at the end of the episode, or towards the end of the episode, by, I would assume, these walkers and a large group of walkers to take down the tiger. I mean, you're going to need a large group of walkers, but Shiva gets her comic death. And overall, I think they did a great job with Shiva on the show. They showed her more and more in this season, and, you know, the CGI looked great. It's not like that deer that we saw that was pretty dumb, but it's going to suck. You know, I know it's a CGI tiger and I got to get over it. But overall, I'm a cat lover, an animal lover, and I believe that animals dying on the show is harder to watch sometimes than people, human characters dying on shows. but Shiva has come and gone. Was probably one of the best parts of season 7 for me. She wasn't in that many episodes, and I'm gonna miss the character. And I like the TV show rendition of Shiva. How about you guys? Post your comments below. So we're gonna lose Shiva. We're going to lose some Kingdomers like Daniel Newman. We knew it was coming. It's a little different death than Richard's death in the comics, but Jerry and Ezekiel survive. Of course, Ezekiel survives. That was the whole thing in the comic, so they kept that part, but they keep Jerry alive as well too. And I'm glad they do, because Jerry is just for the show. He's not in the comic, and people love Jerry. He's a fan favorite for sure, so they need to keep him around as much as possible, and there's no reason to kill him off. So he went away with the other Kingdomer. He didn't get hit by the bullet. He was okay, or any of the bullets. He survives. Ezekiel survives, but he's wounded, and he holds up Jerry and Carol walking away, and they don't leave him. But Carol ends up going into the outpost here, and she takes out some saviors, and we get more badass Carol, the return of badass Carol in season 8. Love it, her badass ways. And what do you feel about Carol, Melissa McBride? I love her. I think she's awesome. She's great. I love the character, but they're in this room, school, science, building area, some kind of chemicals or something. We'll see if it has to do with the other walkers and the stuff that we saw with the walkers that were burned or whatever going forward. But overall, Carol takes out some saviors, survives. She has 2 saviors left that she doesn't kill, and they get in the Jeep, and they have the weapons that are trying to get back to the sanctuary, and that's who Rick and Daryl encounter. But Carol takes out a bunch of saviors and meets up with Jerry and Ezekiel, and because Jerry and Ezekiel are kind of trapped by walkers, and Carol goes to help, but then Shiva ultimately comes in and saves Jerry, Ezekiel, and Carol, and they all get away, and Shiva gets her comic book death. It's a little different because Shiva just saves Ezekiel in the comic, but she saves all 3 here in a heroic way, and it's going to be very sad, guys. So post your comments below and enjoy the episode this Sunday. We got a giveaway going when we hit 50,000 subscribers. To be eligible, guys, you got to be a member of a couple of different groups and things on Instagram and Facebook. The Walking Dead Community Facebook page and group, a Facebook page and group. We got Instagram at the PT channel, Twitter as well. Fight for Us, my book series. It's doing very well. If you're interested in some books, some zombie apocalypse of this kind of genre, it's Fight for Us, The Beginning, Reunited, and Refuge are books 1, 2, and 3. Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Kindle versions. And that's my 4th book now that I'm wrapping up pretty soon. It'll be out, and I'll tell you when it is. 100,000 subscribers is our goal, guys. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the spoilers. Hopefully they come true. And I can't wait for Sunday. How about you guys?